Hey everyone, this is Marathon Money. I'm with Ryan Confer, correct?
That's right.
Got that. Genplex, man. I really appreciate you being on the show. I think tons of people in my audience are going to be really excited that you're on the show. I see that the stock is doing well today, and I got some questions of my own. Um, but I know I would love to talk about the history that you've been at this company. You've been doing this, you've been almost there for 12 years. Am I correct?
A little bit longer, a little bit more than 15. I've been with the company since it was founded in April 2009, and have worn a lot of different hats over the years. Genprex, we were born out of Austin, Texas. We still maintain our headquarters here. And, we got founded as a gene therapy company focused on trying to bring better treatments in oncology originally. And now, a few years back, have added diabetes gene therapy to our portfolio.
Yeah, no, I saw that, man. I see the two programs you guys have, and it's the oncology and the diabetes, type 1 and type 2. To go over the oncology, I know you guys have a drug already out. With that into a clinical stage 2?
It is, yeah. We've had 5 clinical trials so far on Recorsa, and that program is a bit unique. Our most advanced is in phase 2 with AstraZeneca's drug Tagrisso, and we're in a phase 2 right now. We also have a clinical trial with small cell lung cancer with Genentech's drug Tecentriq, and that's in a phase 1, but we expect to be in a phase 2 early next year.
And both of them, you guys got fast track regulation. Am I correct? Both of
That's
them are
right.
the fast.
The FDA has granted us fast track designation with both of those clinical trials, and the small cell lung cancer clinical trial also has an orphan drug designation associated with it from the FDA.
What do you think? What do you think? What is the potential amount of money that you guys are targeting for these drugs? Like, how much would these actually cost?
For cost, we have not released that publicly. However, I would say that there's a lot of gene therapies out there, and you hear the high prices associated with some of these gene therapies, but most of the time, they're going after really niche diseases. We're targeting cancer. I mean, it's very large markets, and also our gene therapy just kind of works differently than other gene therapies out there. We have a very novel approach where we use a lipid nanoparticle, similar to the COVID vaccines. I mean, we're just using cholesterol. The body knows what cholesterol is. And we are delivering tumor suppressor genes. These are genes that are found in every single human when they're born. And what we find is over time, certain cancers, we're focused on lung cancer specifically, because lung cancer patients start missing a certain tumor suppressor gene that helps the body naturally fight the tumors, causing programmed cell death of cancer cells and ramping up the immune system to fight it on its own. And what we find over time is these tumor suppressor genes get systematically deleted. And so we're simply using cholesterol to bring these tumor suppressor genes back into the body to fight the cancer as it normally would. Because we use this approach, we know that we're able to scale it. While COVID gave us a lot of setbacks in the economy, the one thing that it gave Genprex was a large understanding of how to scale lipid nanoparticles and cholesterol specifically. That was something that we heard from naysayers back when we were a private company 10 years ago. You'll never scale lipid nanoparticles. You'll never make it work. And, we didn't have to. The market did it for us. And so we have the beauty of that. So we think, while we haven't given a price target of what our drug will cost at the end of the day, if and when it's approved, we know that it will be highly competitive with the other drugs in the space.
I definitely believe, because you guys had that belief of, what, this will work out for us. The opportunity came. You guys capitalized on that opportunity during the COVID. I definitely gives me belief in you guys and be able to accomplish it more. Also, I see that you guys are splitting into two entity, one for the oncology, one for the diabetes. Can you elaborate more? I know it gives you guys pure play, but
Right.
what is your vision as a CEO?
Sure. It was kind of funny when we first went public back in 2018. A lot of people were saying, "Well, you're a one-trick pony," and we never believed that either, because we really believe that our lipid nanoparticle is a platform, and we can deliver multiple, tumor suppressor genes in oncology. But, when we picked up the diabetes program, we heard, after years of hearing we're a one trick pony, we hear, well, now you have two different programs that you're spending your time on, and how do you differentiate the two? But we've raised over $100 million, and a large amount of that has gone into our oncology program. And over the last couple of years, what we've seen after we've picked up this diabetes program, specifically last year when we announced data in non-human primates to show that we were able to reduce insulin requirements and get back to stable glucose levels over time with these monkeys. We've had a lot of companies and potential investors really interested in focusing specifically on the diabetes program. And so the goal was spinning out the company and the operations into a wholly owned subsidiary, is that the existing Genprex shareholders with a wholly owned subsidiary still get the benefit of the value creation in that entity. But we are simply trying to unlock the potential value of diabetes on its own, and give it a potential entity in which it can raise money and go out and prosper independently from the oncology program.
So are you guys kind of like looking for a cure, or are you guys looking for like a treatment, like for example, Ozempic? Ozempic has turned into a weight loss drug, but they also treat diabetes. So
Yeah, so Ozempic and a few other semaglutides have been used for treating type 2 diabetes mainly. And mostly it's treating some effects associated with it. But the fact of the matter is, the root issue with diabetes, type 1 diabetes, for instance, is that the body's immune system attacks and kills off the insulin producing beta cells. And once they're gone, they're gone. You can't get them back. So the only way that type 1 diabetics can go on is with daily insulin routines and treatments. For type 2 diabetics, while semaglutides, or these GLP-1 agonists, including the one that you mentioned and others in the marketplace, while they're helpful in glucose stabilization, but the fact of the matter is they are not treating diabetes at its core. And with type 2 diabetes, these insulin producing beta cells, they've just been severely overworked for a very long period of time. And so they're not able to produce insulin as effectively as they once were. And as a result of that, your glucose stabilization can be a little erratic. Our goal with our diabetes program is for type 1 diabetics. We are recreating insulin producing beta cells in the body that do not exist out of glucagon alpha cells. And for type 2 diabetes, we believe that we are essentially rejuvenating those really exhausted, burnout beta cells that produce insulin. And so we're focused on the root cause of diabetes, where semaglutides they're not really focused on doing anything to the beta cells specifically. Now, we stop short of saying a cure. That's a really strong word. Hopefully we could get to that point in the future. But we are looking for ways to try to reduce the need of insulin for a significantly long time. And if that can get to, for the life of a patient, that would be our ultimate goal. But we still have a long way of going to do
that,
that.
that's an amazing goal to have. I think people less they need of the medicine, the better. Am I correct?
Yeah, I don't have diabetes. I know people that do. It's a constant challenge. Constantly monitoring, what your blood glucose is. For those that need insulin, every day, it's something that you're just constantly monitoring. And if we can get away from that to the point where even a procedure of ours, might be able to limit the needs of insulin for months, that would be amazing. And that's what we've seen in some of our non-human primate studies so far.
Oh wow, that's amazing. Now to just shift it back over to the lung cancer. I know you guys made an agreement with University of Michigan and collaboration with the ALK positive. What are you looking for out of that? What is one of the thing your vision for that?
Yeah, so what's really cool about ALK Positive is they're a nonprofit group. They represent ALK positive lung cancer patients. And so ALK positive is a specific mutation in non-small cell lung cancer. It represents, I think, about 5% of non-small cell lung cancer patients. And what we've seen is we've had a number of universities around the country that have independently verified TUSC2, the tumor suppressor gene that is the active ingredient in Recorsa, has independently verified results of TUSC2 in cancer treatment. And the University of Michigan reached out to us because they believe that that there could be some impact with the ALK positive groups. We gave them some free material about a year ago. They released some preliminary findings. And I believe those findings were just strong enough that the ALK positive group was willing to come in and collaborate with us to do some additional sponsor research at the University of Michigan that could potentially lead to a clinical trial for this group of patients. So we're excited to be working with this group particularly. And we hope that it can stimulate interest with other, nonprofit or patient advocacy groups across the country, so we can, continue to see if Recorsa is benefiting other patient sets.
You're kind of answering some of the questions that my audience had for you. Um, you're really pushing out Genplex, trying to get your company out to more names, more people. But one of the question is, can you outline the necessary milestone Genplex must achieve to reach FDA marketing approval for your pipeline drugs?
Yeah, so the closest that we have are two clinical trials that are in the phase 1/2. The first drug is an EGFR inhibitor from AstraZeneca that we're combining with, and we call that a claim 1. That is in a phase 2. We have put some milestones out on when we hope to have some data on that clinical trial. We hope to have interim analysis here in 2025. And then a claim 3 is with small cell lung cancer. That clinical trial in particular, we're very excited about because the patients in that clinical trial, 100% of small cell lung cancer patients are missing a significant amount of TUSC2, the tumor suppressor gene that we are reintroducing into the body through Recorsa. So we believe that the science tells us that it should work very, very well in this patient set. Now, we will be wrapping up enrollment of the phase 1 patients by the end of this year and starting phase 2 early next year. That clinical trial has moved very quickly. And given the really poor prognosis of small cell lung cancer, we hope that we can make a dent in it and be able to share interim phase 2 results on that next year as well.
Well, by what I'm hearing, by what I'm reading, by what I'm researching, how quickly phase clinical trial 1 went, I do think you guys are going to be successful in clinical trial 2. Um, but you guys are moving at a great rate. Um, do you think by 2027, 2028, we would see like a markable product for patients?
That's too far away to tell. We are really excited by a claim 3 by how quickly patients have enrolled in it. We hope that this really indicates, number one, that um, the examiners at each one of the clinical trial sites are excited about our drug as well. Those principal investigators, the faster we enroll, the better for us because we can get the data quicker. The longer that our patients stay on the clinical trials, the better for our data as well, and showing that our drug works for long-term effectiveness. And we have had some patients on our clinical trial for a very, very long period of time. We announced earlier couple, maybe a month or two ago, just an update of our clinical trials. And one patient on our Acclaim 1 clinical trial, they have stage 4 non-small cell lung cancer. I mean, this is, very deadly disease. They've had stable disease and partial remission for more than 2 years now, which is really significant. Um, but the biggest benefit that we think that we have with Recorsa is it has such a strong safety profile. The patients that are coming through our clinical trial, their side effects, if they're having them, are limited to fever, chills, body aches, and it's only lasting a couple hours. And they get treated with our drug every 21 days. The more they get treated with it, the less those side effects become over time, to the point where they can completely go away. So for a cancer treatment to do that, we think that's pretty special. We know, we've talked to patients, we've done videos with patients that are able to continue on with their full-time jobs while they're taking our treatment. And we think that's huge. I mean, it's try doing that with chemotherapy. It's really, really challenging. And so, our goal is for not only effective cancer treatments, but a cancer treatment that is safe and reliable as well.
And I'll tell you something about my back. My mom had cancer, and working was a very difficult thing to do while you're doing chemotherapy. If you can do that, that would be not only a game changer, it would be a huge game changer. What do you see like the market potential? Like, how many people you guys are going to be able to serve out there with this if this drug becomes to on the shelf prescription gets out there for lung cancer patients?
Yeah, so I mean, lung cancer is our start. We're starting there because the TUS2 tumor suppressor gene that we're delivering is missing in a large number of lung cancer patients. But we've had a lot of data recently showing that it can work in other cancer types. We had a conference last week in Barcelona where we showed benefits of TUSC2 in glioblastoma, brain cancer, and mesothelioma, a very, very difficult disease to treat. But we've also had independent researchers show that Recorsa or TUSC2 is applicable to breast cancer, including triple negative breast cancer, is applicable to renal cell cancers, and a number of other cancers around the body. So, if we had the investment, we'd love to try to explore these other cancers. And where you have Keytrudas of the world from Merck, which are billion-dollar drugs that are trying to go out there and boil the ocean with their cancer products. What we are trying to do with Recorsa is a little bit different. We're not trying to be the end all, one size fits all drug to replace these big Keytrudas. We're trying to be a complementer. We want to extend the life of Keytruda's drugs so it benefits patients even further. And so we don't look at Recorsa as being kind of like a main entree and a menu of items for cancer patients. We look at it as like, a sriracha that can fit on every table and potentially be utilized with just about everything and complement it. And that's what we're seeing with some of our early preclinical data. And so it's a bit of a unique approach to cancer, we think. And we are showing benefit in combination with some of these big drugs. So, we hope we can just tag along, make the life of those drugs extended, and they benefit and we benefit from it too. So we don't look at the Mercks or the AstraZenecas or the Genentechs as like pure competitors.
Yeah, and it's kind of one of my leading to my other question is that, what other successful people that you would put yourself in the same circle, that you would put Genplex in the same circle as?
Yeah, I mean, we have the benefit of just having a really talented team. Not only our executive team here, our chief medical officer was brought in. He's taken 2 drugs from idea stage through FDA approval. We have our most recent hire. She was involved with some of the earliest gene therapy research out of the University of Pennsylvania, has significant regulatory experience. And so we believe that we have the right paths to take our drugs through to FDA approval. And then outside of that, I mean, we just have some, amazing advisors and board. We on our advisory board, scientific advisory board, Dr. Jack Roth, the inventor of Recorsa, has like 1,000 publications to his name. I mean, his entire career has been spent on lung cancer. We just put together a mesothelioma advisory board of some of the leading experts in mesothelioma across the country. We continue to look to put advisory boards together for a number of the therapeutic avenues that we're looking at. We're hoping that we can do something similar with diabetes and some of these other cancer therapeutic areas.
Kind of getting close to the end, but I kind of want to see what is the accomplishments you're seeing for 2025. What are the main accomplishments you want to see get done?
The biggest is data. We're on the cusp of having some data in both Acclaim 1 and Acclaim 3. And what you typically see in early stage oncology companies, there's value inflection points, when you move from preclinical to phase 1 to phase 2 to phase 3. And that's, can historically see that in share price as companies move to those other stages. So we know that we're going to be moving to phase 2 and Acclaim 3 early next year. But we're most excited about that efficacy data in phase 2 from both Acclaim 1 and Acclaim 3. We'll be seeing some interim data on those programs in 2025, and that's what we're most excited about. Acclaim 3 specifically because the patients in Acclaim 3, we're going after frontline maintenance therapy. So this would be a drug that patients would be getting first before any other drug cocktails, and they'd be getting it as a maintenance therapy with Tecentriq. And patients that go on maintenance therapy for small cell lung cancer, their typical progression-free survival, meaning that in stable disease, meaning that their tumors essentially aren't growing but staying normal, last only about 2.5 months. So it's really, they don't have really good options if you're in maintenance therapy for small cell lung cancer. So our goal is to try to show some measurable percentage greater than 2.5 months of progression-free survival for small cell lung cancer patients. And, thankfully, with our enrollment numbers, we've had strong enrollment. We hope to be able to see data on that relatively quickly compared to our other clinical studies. So that's what we're looking for in 2025 is phase 2 data that can lift the stock, lift our valuation, and hopefully propel us, toward the future in phase 3.
$100 million you guys raised, is that a new fresh $100 million you guys raised, or you like that was like last year's?
No, that's been over the life of the company. We were founded in 2009. We raised, I think, somewhere in the neighborhood of about 15 million as a private company before we went public in 2018. But when we went public in 2018, we had already had 2 clinical trials showing Recorsa in a phase 1 safety clinical trial, and then also in a phase 2 showing some degree of efficacy. So, we had done all of that for 15 million bucks as a private company, which is pretty outstanding. Now, since then, we've opened a number of clinical trials, gotten FDA fast track designation. We've ramped up our manufacturing to scale it for our clinical trials, which takes a lot of time and money to do so. But now we're kind of in a set it mode where we're waiting for phase 2 data to take us to the next level.
I want to go back to how much you guys accomplished with just 15 million. That's very impressive to do that with 15 million, to have a drug and go through multiple clinical trials. You guys seem like you guys are using the money that you guys are given very wisely. How are you guys planning on to raise more money for the next couple clinical trials, or even for the diabetes drugs?
Yeah, so I would hope with diabetes, because we're spinning it out into a wholly owned subsidiary, and it gives us kind of a clean structure in that entity, that I would hope that we can find funding from partner sources. We know that the major insulin makers are investing heavily in emerging and disruptive therapies in the space. There's a number of like stem cell related therapies that have had heavy investment over the last couple of years, have also been acquired by insulin producers, have been acquired by Vertex, who's now an emerging player in the market as well. So we're seeing a lot of M&A activity at a lot of earlier stage with diabetes, but we hope that we can get more partner or strategic style investment into the diabetes program. For oncology, what we've seen there is that a lot of the companies have a lot more M&A activity after phase 2. So we'd likely look to raise funding in the public markets to advance those programs beyond phase 2. My hope is to try to do that episodically into our advantage and raise capital, at the cheapest possible rates that we can. We do have an active ATM on file under our S3 registration statement. And the nice thing about ATMs is we're able to cash in on capital at like a 3% rate, which is relatively cheap for investment. So that is an advantage that we have that we can utilize from time to time. In the past, we've raised funding through registered direct offerings or simple overnight deals. However, the cost of that capital is a little bit more typically. And sometimes there's, things like warrants and whatnot that accompany them. So, what we really want to do is try to raise money in the most advantageous way as we can, but also do it in a cost-effective way that gives the absolute most bang for buck for shareholders. And that's something that we're really focused on.
Yeah, 3% capital is really relatively low, definitely in this economy to be able to get that. Man, that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you guys doing any more future collaborations? You got the collaboration with Michigan, you got the collaboration with ALK. Is there any more collaboration coming on or major pharmaceuticals that you guys looking to partner up in the future?
We want to, and we have collaborated with other universities. The conference last week in Barcelona highlights the collaboration we did with NYU. Also highlights collaboration that we did with the University of Texas Health Science Center. And so we continue to collaborate with a number of really reputable research institutions to propel our research. We're really focused on trying to now collaborate with more industry. I mean, we want to get more involved with major pharma to see how we can best combine our recourse of therapy with their therapies for different therapeutic areas.
And Ryan, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. I learned a ton about what you guys are doing for lung cancer, what you guys are doing for diabetes, and just the successful rate you guys had before you guys IPO'd, before you guys became a stock, how you guys manage your money, what you guys doing to grow is very amazing. And I know next year you guys are going to hit all your milestones. Is there anything out there you want people to know, the audience, about Genplex and what they're going to be accomplishing in the next few years?
I would just say, I mean, obviously the economy over the last 12 months has been rather tight. We've hit tight spots since the company was founded. Genprex has been used to running lean and mean, and we'll continue to fight because we care about getting our treatments out there and into the hands of patients that really need it.
Thank you so much, Ryan. I really appreciate your time. And I think everybody who's enjoying this, and appreciate you guys. This is Marathon Money with Genplex.